All right, part 3. Here we go. Question number 9 on our Unit 1 review. It says that angle PQR is 168 degrees. Now, angle PQR is the Big Papa. All right, so the whole thing is 168 degrees. And then it says that PQH here is 4x plus 30. So in the interior of PQH, I'll write a 4x plus 30. All right. And then it says that HQR is 2x minus 12. So in the interior of HQR, I'll write 2x minus 12. 2x minus 12. All right, there it is. So now you guys know you only have like two options here. We have like either angles are equal to each other when they're congruent, or angles add up to a certain number. And that number can be different things. Well, this is a situation where I know these two angles add up to a certain number. They add up to 168. So I'm going to follow this method here. The piece plus the piece equals the whole 168 degrees. So it equals the whole 168 degrees. Well, one piece is 4x plus 30. That's that angle. I don't know what x is, but 4x plus 30 is that angle. The other piece is 2x minus 12. So when I add 2x minus 12, they're supposed to add up to 168. All right. Now, I know some of you are just going to skip to this part right here. Some of you are going to be like, all right, well, there's 4x's and 2x's, so there's 6x's. And that's what happens when you combine like terms. And you'll be like, all right, well, there's 30 and there's a negative 12, so 30 plus negative 12 is 18. And again, that's the same thing that would happen if you combined these constant terms. Cool beans. All right. So, guys, this isn't something crazy, man. It's just this piece plus this piece equals the whole thing. All right? Nothing crazy. All right, it becomes an algebra problem from here on out. So I'm going to get all these numbers away from my x. Get away from my x, dude. If I can't have her, no one can. That's weird. So 6x, and I subtract 18, and that's going to give me 150. And lastly, we'll divide by 6. And x is equal to 150 divided by 6. I think it's 25. All right, so x is 25. That's cool. And it says find x. Well, I found x. X equals 25. And then it says find PQH. Well, down here it tells me that angle PQH, the measure of angle PQH, is 4x plus 30. And we know that x is 25. So we could be like, all right, it's 4 times 25 plus 30. 4 times 25 is 100, so that's 130. Measure of angle PQH equals 130 degrees. And it also says find HQR. Well, a couple different ways we could do this. If PQH is 130 degrees and the whole thing is 168, I guess I could just subtract and be like, all right, well, 168 minus 130, well, that leaves us with 38 degrees. So I could do it like that, or I could have plugged it in there, because I know that x is 25, so I could have said 2 times 25 minus 12. 50 minus 12. Still 38. So more than one way to skin a catfish. All right. The measure of angle HQR is 38 degrees. Makes sense, because they still add up to 168. You know you did it right. Number 10 says use the figure at the right to determine the following: a pair of vertical angles. Now remember, guys, vertical angles mean that the angles are opposite each other. So a pair of vertical angles would be the ones that are non-adjacent and formed by the same two intersecting lines. So what angle's opposite angle? Oh, that was a terrible line. Redo. What angle is opposite angle 1? So non-adjacent, that would be angle 3. So we would say that angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical. Angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical. And you learned in class that being vertical means that they're also congruent. Oh no. So I could say that angle 1 is congruent to angle 3, and I could show that by using arc marks. Let me clean this up a little bit here. I could use arc marks to show that angle 1 and angle 3 are congruent. And I know that because they're vertical angles. Another pair of vertical angles could be angle 2 and angle 4. They're also opposite each other. So they're also vertical angles, angle 2 and angle 4. All right. And I put the arc marks there because being vertical means that they're also congruent. So angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. Angle 2 is congruent to angle 4. All right, so I kind of killed two birds with one stone there. They were vertical, so they were also congruent. Cool beans. Up next, we got a linear pair. Now, a linear pair means that they're a pair of angles that form a straight line. So that's a pair is 2, yeah, So a pair of angles that form a straight line. Now, there's a lot of linear pairs in here, because I have a pair of angles sitting on that red line, angle 1 and angle 2. Shoot, I got angle 3 and 4 on the other side. All right, and you know what? If I take a look at this other line that I'm tracing over right now, I could have talked about angle 1 and angle 4. And then the other side would be angle 2 and angle 3. So remember, a linear pair is two angles that lie on the same line, and they're adjacent to each other. You can see that they share a common side, common vertex. Unlike vertical angles were the opposite angles. They were the ones that were across from each other, like it was looking in a mirror. And, we just talked about linear pairs. Well, guess what? Those same linear pairs are all supplementary. That's one of the characteristics of a linear pair. So I'd be like, okay, angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary. That means the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 equals 180. And I could keep going because that works for all of those guys in there. All right, I'd be like, the measure of angle 3 plus the measure of angle 4 equals 180. All right, so all my linear pairs for part B would also be supplementary pairs in part C. All right, last up is a pair of adjacent angles. Man, kind of just said it. So all of our answers for part B were supplementary, and also we talked about how linear pairs are adjacent. So all of our answers for part B are also answers for part E. So B, C, and E are all the same things. All right. We're just going to keep trucking. Let's finish this whole thing. We got a couple questions left. So let's keep this party going. Number 11, two-parter here. All right. Use the given figures to solve for x. Well, the first thing we need to do is determine what the relationship is. So we have a pair of opposite angles. Okay, so that means they're verticals. They're formed by the same two intersecting lines. Boo-boo! Boo-boo! They're vertical angles. So I'm going to write that. I'm going to write vertical angles because I'm going to learn something today. All right, and we learned in class that vertical angles are congruent, which means if I want to set up the equation, the two pieces are equal. The one angle is equal to the other angle, because that's what we do for vertical angles. That's what we do for anything congruent. So my two angles are a 10x plus 1, and whatever that is, it's got to equal the other side. It's got to be the same as 12x minus 5. I got to do some algebra. Need all my x's on one side. Need all my numbers on the other. Two x equals 6. Almost done. Divide by 2. And x equals 3. So we know not to stop there. Oh, wait. Yeah, we do stop there. It says solve for x. So for that problem, x equals 3. Yay. Now, B is a little different. B ain't no vertical angles. B is a different pair. These aren't opposite. In fact, these are adjacent, and they're sitting on the same line, so I know they're going to add up to 180. We call that a linear pair. I'll do my work down here. So for part B, we have a linear pair. So the first thing you do, you want to establish, man, are they vertical? Are they linear? And I know if they're linear, then they're going to be supplementary, which means that they equal 180 degrees. So that means the piece plus the piece is going to equal a magic number. And in this case, that magic number is 180. All right, our two pieces are a 4x plus 7 and a 2x plus 5. 2x plus 5. So again, we're going to combine the like terms, and some of you are cheaters, and you're going to go straight here. You're going to be like, well, that's a 4x and a 2x. That's a 6x, and that's cool. If you got a faster way to do it, I'm all for it. 7 and 5, well, they're both positive, so add them up. That's 12. I know none of you talk like that. I'm sorry. Even though you go to Durant. And then, so after combining like terms, 6x plus 12 equals 180. A little two-stepper. Minus 12. And divide by 6. Oh gosh, what's 168 divided by 6? All right, I don't have a calculator, but I think I got a big brain. So 160 divided by 16 would be 10. And then 8 over 16 would be the remainder, and that's like half. That's 0.5. So I'm pretty sure my 7 years of college tells me that this is going to be 10.5. All right, no calculator. Don't need one. Those are for nerds. All right, so x is 10.5, and that's all we had to do for those problems was solve for x. Last one, we made it. It says G and H are complementary. Now, I do want you guys underlining important words like complementary. And hopefully you can do a little text marking, and above complementary, you're going to write equals 90 because you're a good English and reading student. So make that help you in math. So I know that in this situation, because it says complementary, that these things are going to have to equal 90 degrees. It's going to be kind of like the last one, but instead of adding up to 180, it's going to add up to 90. We got our piece plus piece has to equal 90. Why 90? It said complementary. All right, so what are the pieces? Well, one piece is 6x minus 15, and the other piece is 3x plus 6. All right, guys, same deal, man. I feel like we're doing a lot of algebra. Same deal. We got a 6x and a 3x. That's 9 x's. And I've got a negative 15, be careful, and a positive 6. When I add those together, I think it's a negative 9. All right, a two-stepper, add 9. And last step, divide by 9. A lot of 9s in this problem. There we go, something that's not 9. X is equal to 11. But you know what? It don't say find x. It says find the measure of angle h. So if h was 3x plus 6, so the measure of angle h was 3x plus 6, and we know that x is equal to 11, then we'll find the measure of angle h by saying, hey, let's replace the x with 11, because that's what we found. And that's going to be 33. 3 times 11 is 33 plus 6. Big time math. We got 39. There it is. The measure of angle h equals 39. All right, y'all. I hope you learned something. If you didn't, I'll give you all your money back. Have a nice evening, and I'll see you tomorrow.